March 13th, 2025. The night of March 12th and 13th, 2025. The entire night I was in the hospital by Ritain's bedside. That happened to be his deathbed that day. Before that night, I have spoken about death a number of times. I've spoken about mortality. I have thought about mortality. I tried my best to become aware about mortality. I tried my best to accept mortality until that day. But when that day came into my life unannounced, I found myself quite unprepared for what happened. And nothing really prepares anybody for death. No matter how spiritual I was, or however I was, or how much ever I may have tried to become aware of about mortality, but when real moment of death comes, it's absolutely something unbelievable. It's not something that I was able to handle, and I assume that most people who are average human beings cannot handle that. We have no choice but to handle that, so we can handle it technically, but it's another emotional challenge to accept what is happening. I knew at the intellectual level that this is the truth. Doctors kept on telling me his heart is going to stop anytime. He's very, very critical. I'm very afraid his heart is going to stop. So doctors were doing everything to make me aware. But it was me who was at some level, intellectually I knew what they were talking about. I just couldn't believe that that was the truth. And, just the realization that that night, the way I spoke to Ritain, that I love you, Niharika loves you, Niharika. The intensity of emotion that day, that never happened before. That was the first and last time. Since that day on, that intensity has been on in me. Not every moment, but for most of the time that I have, that I'm awake. So that intensity is on from that day onwards. But until that day, the intensity of love, emotion, that it was not that way, the way it is now. It was not anywhere close to that kind of intensity. So, I don't know how many of us who are going to listen to this video message are going to relate to what I'm saying. Did you ever feel that kind of intensity? That your family member is going away, somebody that you love so much is going away, and you will never have a second chance to say anything like that, and if he doesn't get the message today and now, he will never get it possibly. And so how do you send a message that you make sure it goes across? Somebody who is in coma, how you want them to be happy and in relief. I really did not know what else to do, how helpless I was. But the intensity of that emotion, I have never felt before. But since that day on, I felt that many times. But I have never known that. Possibly, I don't remember the intensity of love, that particular emotion. I did not feel it this way. Okay, the way I felt it that day was unimaginable.